Welcome to Lazy Reviews. Today's video is going to be a bit different than my usual stuff. I'll be talking about the game Suzerain. Suzerain? 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 This game. This one. Or this one. I don't know where it fits in the... The game came out in 2022 and is developed by the Berlin-based Torpor. Torpor game? Torpor? Well, I guess this is going to be one of those episodes where I can't pronounce things. So, an average episode, I guess.
Goddamn right.
It won't make too much sense for me to show gameplay in this video because it is essentially a text-based game. You do have some graphics in the sense that you do have a world map you can interact with. You have your office desk that will have things added to it and things you can interact with, but mostly it is just a text-based game. A text-based game with an interface that adds a bit more flair to it. And the reason why I want to talk about this is this game has one of the best stories, one of the most immersive stories I have ever interacted with. Very briefly, the game opens up with you having been sworn in as the president of the country Swordsland. The game takes place in the fictional early 50s. Essentially in a fictitious world. The continents, the countries, the people are, well, made up. But the game is very similar to the early 50s Europe. Well, not just early 50s, it has conflicts that are resembling 1930s. It has some dimensions that are actually late 50s and early 60s. Overall, I think this game will have a lot for you if you are interested in history, if you have a big knowledge of history, if you have a big knowledge about politics. You really need to have that interest to find it as immersive as I did. I think you can like it if you are not really knowledgeable on those areas and maybe don't care too much about politics. But then again, why would you play a politics game if you don't care about politics? I would say the story is solid. Maybe you will enjoy it regardless of how much you care about politics, but probably not. But anyway, the game it does have a few pop cultural references. It does have a few historical references, but mostly it's just done in a very subdued way that doesn't remove your immersion too much. And when it does happen, it's just this small sprinkle, this small flare of delight you'll experience if you catch the cultural references, because I think a lot of them will go over your head. A lot of them probably went over my head, and then when I tried to share them with my friends, the ones that I did get, they didn't get them. So you are a newly elected president, and you decide who you're going to be and what your political platform is going to be. So you make a backstory up for yourself, you make up what your campaign promises were, and then as you play the game, you will be taking a lot of decisions. And that's what the game is about, decisions. The Swordsland in the early 50s is surrounded by hostile neighbors, it's in economic despair, completely distraught by recession. It is basically a one-party state disguised as a democracy. It has minority issues. Basically, it's trapped between NATO and the Warsaw Pact. And you have to maneuver this world. You have to decide what kind of future you want to envision for the country or for yourself, because the game allows you to be corrupt. It allows you to be a clean politician. It allows you to be a complete communist. It allows you to be a far-right nationalist. Not exactly. Maybe borderline fascist. I think that is still debatable how the right-wing political platform actually develops in the game. It allows you to be a reformist democrat, market democrat. It allows you to be, well, to just keep in tow with the party line, this conservative, paternalistic pseudo-democracy that is basically a state capitalism. That the country starts out as a state capitalist country. What enjoyment you will get from this game is setting out on a path, overcoming the obstructions to achieving the goals you set out to do, and seeing where the game takes you, because this game will take you places you probably didn't expect to go. It will have a lot of very hard choices and a lot of decisions that you don't necessarily understand how they will come into play later, or if they will really impact the game a lot. And that means that actually the way I played it and the way I would recommend you to play it is play through it very slowly. Maybe sessions of 20 to 40 minutes at a time, because that means that the tension increases. If you're just rushing through it, you will not let the game take on a life in your head. I would be going to bed thinking about the decisions I made, thinking if it's still possible to save my country. I got really immersed in this situation. I really wanted to create a better future for this fictional country, and I was afraid I'd made so many mistakes. And you probably will make mistakes. From what I gather, it's actually not that easy to complete the game or to achieve all your goals in the first playthrough. I did look up a few things online, but not much, to be honest, because what I realized, and this I will not spoil too much, but the game likes synergy. So if your public agenda, personal agenda, and political platform and your decisions all align, that makes it easier to complete the game. It will not make it impossible to fail, but that's how I achieved it. I was actually just very honest to the character and to the program I had embarked on achieving. I did actually encourage some of my friends to play this, and some criticism they had is that they felt the game is a bit arbitrary in its writing and it's not very consistent. That actually there are fewer outcomes of the decisions you make than would first appear, and that some situations are more or less doomed to happen no matter how you resolve them or how you try to resolve them. I'm not sure I would agree. I think it's just easier to fail than you would think. Of course, I'm not saying the game is flawless, but from my own experience playing it and from what I read online, it is actually mostly consistent. There are a few mechanics that might be, okay, if you didn't do this right in this situation, you'll be locked out of this good ending later on. There are a few things like that, so it's definitely not flawless, but my experience was amazing. I'm not sure where it stands on economics. I am not an economic expert, but I am aware that there are so many economic theories out there. Therefore, when you're given options that, according to this one theory, it would be a very good option, but maybe according to some other theories, it would be a much less attractive option than the other options you have. I was afraid that the game would just pick one as the right one, even though it actually both could be argued to be right ones. But that's where I bring up synergy again. That actually, if your economic decisions are based more or less on the same economic theories, then you will probably thrive. That just means you have to understand some economics to really get through it. It's definitely not for everyone. Don't know what else to say. I just thoroughly recommend this game, but I know that a lot of people will not enjoy it. I just wanted to share my love for this game because since playing Disco Elysium, I haven't been this immersed in a game. Not that it's like Disco Elysium, but I just felt immersed in the characters, in the story, in the plot. It's been such a long time since I felt this way before. And yeah, it's wild. It was a wild ride. It was a perfectly good, rounded story that I helped write, and I'm happy about it. And I want you to have the same experience. It's not too expensive if you get it on discount or whatever. It should be worth the risk, even if you don't think it will be your thing. I've read some reviews maybe. I mean, this is a review, but it's not as thorough. Maybe you can know some other ones that can help define if this is the game for you. I just want to share the love, because this channel usually doesn't share love. I wanted to share love. Goodbye.
Suzerain.